Hello there YouTube. Today I'm going to have a video talking about spark plugs. Now spark plugs come in a whole bunch of different kinds. You got different electrodes, different cores, like you can get like copper, iridium, platinum. Choosing the right spark plug for you is just basically as simple as looking at whatever they put on there from factory. You're not really supposed to be gaining any sort of power by switching out to a different sort of spark plug, like you'll hear about stuff like the E3 spark plug, it doesn't need to be gapped, you can just throw right in, gains you more power. Yeah, probably not the best idea to go with something like that, because, they do design these electrical systems to run with a certain type of spark plug, with a certain type of gap, and you should stick with that kind of certain type of setup. And in my case, with this old 258 AMC engine, it's just simple Champion spark plug copper, it's what it came with, that's what you should be running, because that's just what the system was designed for, and that's about all you can say about that. If you do gain power by switching out your spark plug, it's probably just because the old ones are wrong or worn out, and these ones are probably original as far as I can tell. So, changing them out, it kind of depends on what kind of engine you got. Something like this where it's like an inline engine, they're all right there on the side. You can get to them pretty easily, but some engines not going to be quite as easy. I mean, some engines might even be easier, like a modern 4-cylinder. It's going to be right on the very top of the valve cover, right in the middle, easy to get at. I mean, the most you'll have to remove is a little plastic cover, but on a lot of these new transverse V6 engines, you might actually just can't change the rear ones because it requires you to drop the whole engine from underneath the car to get at them. Pain in the butt. It also helps to have like spark plug sockets designed for spark plugs like this one. If you can see down in there, there's a little bit of rubber grommet inside of there, and that's meant to hold on to the porcelain part, your insulator of your spark plug. Let's try to do this one-handed. Here's one of my new plugs, and as you can see, it holds onto it, so you're not going to drop it. Very nice to have. If you don't have something like that, you can always maybe take like a little electrical tape and tape it around the inside, right around here. It might help hold on to the spark plug. Otherwise, you might want to have some, magnets with you, something to grab a spark plug in case it falls, which might happen with you. And then something else you're going to want to have, anti-seize. You want to put that around the spark plug threads. It's really important, especially with aluminum heads. If you do not put anti-seize on, you could actually strip out the spark plugs next time you try to remove them. And plus it helps with the ground a little bit when you get some anti-seize on there. And then finally, something else you might want to get, because it's just cheap, and spark plug gapper. Just so you can measure the gap and make sure they're right. And for mine, these seem to be already gapped correctly. I'll check every one of them when I pull them out though, because you want to make sure you're running the correct gap. If you have feeler gauges, you can use those too. And then from there, it's just simply getting them out. And if they do get a little bit stuck, you might want to go grab a can of penetrating oil. If that doesn't work, you can try running the engine for a couple minutes. Just the heat might bring them out that way. If that still doesn't work, let's say, worst case scenario, have a modular V8 Ford, which is notorious for busting out spark plugs because of carbon buildup. You can try running seafoam through it real fast and see if that breaks up some of the carbon around there. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad day, especially if you have a modular V8 with frozen spark plugs, because they'll probably break out, and you're probably going to need to get a special tool from the store, rent one, and then try to extract the broken spark plug, and then in the process damage your head, and then you're going to have to get the head machined out or just buy a new head. It'll probably be cheaper just getting a new head at the point, because machining isn't cheap. So I'm going to just turn the camera off for the rest of this. I mean, there's really not much to show. I'm just going to take out the spark plugs and gap these new ones and put them in. that's really just all you need to do. And again, you know, sometimes, you know, it's not possible, but if you can, you know, do it yourself. You know, you just, I think the only one that's going to be a pain in the butt is that one, just because the AC unit, but the rest of them, pretty simple to get at. In fact, when I went and took one out earlier, I believe it was this one, you just pull that wire out and get at it. Make sure I got this on. Nope, that's wrong. Should probably set this up last time, sorry. There we go. I'll probably just show you guys a little bit of this one if I can. Yeah. It's nice when you use anti-seize because then they start coming out easier, and the rest of this I can just get with hand. Or, yeah, sorta. Come on, get it on there. No. A special moment when you barely just got enough resistance to get the ratchet, and then you go try to get it with your hands, it's still too tight. Should be loose enough now. Yeah. Here it comes. There's one of the old plugs, as you can see. Ash deposits. A lot of them, because a lot of seafoam was ran through the gas tank along with some carb cleaner. And you can probably see the electrode is a little bit rounded. And as far as the gap goes here, I need to put the camera down for this. Like so. And my mark. See how badly worn I got. Doesn't look super bad, so it shouldn't be too bad. 35, 40, 42 thousandths opening, so it's supposed to be 33. So they've definitely opened up a little bit. And you know, if you are really, really poor, you can always just try to close up the gap and clean it up a little bit and run them a little longer, but spark plugs aren't expensive. You can just swap it out. See, there you go. Same thing, just the lettering's a brown color. Probably original. And then you just repeat the same step for the rest of them and put the new ones in. And, you know, that's it. That's all you gotta do. So, you know, just a little tip to save yourself some money and keep up on your vehicle maintenance. And again, not all of you can do it, and it's kind of understandable with today's vehicles. You don't have to be ashamed, like, oh, I didn't change out my spark plugs, you know, shame on me. Because let's face it, you know, it's not really your fault when you have to drop an engine just to change out 3 spark plugs. But, hey, what can you do? Just in case you're wondering about that rear one, it's not too bad. Not too bad. Just a bunch of vacuum lines and some wiring. It's all loose. This one was still the hardest. Something else I probably should have pointed out earlier is just make sure not to get your lines confused with each other. You can do this, well, basically a couple ways. First off, they're all pretty much different lengths, so you can figure it out if you do mix it up probably. Secondly, you could probably look on the spark plug cap. You know, it might have the, or distributor cap. You'll probably have the firing order and everything there, and then you just gotta match it up with the cylinder number and firing order reference for the engine. Or you could just tape the numbers on the lines, or you could just do them one by one, which is what I've been doing. I just pull a line, pull the plug, put a new one in, put the line back on, move to the next one. Either way it would work. If you do mixed up, you know, your engine would run really badly or not at all. Just figure to put that out there before you guys jump on out and start working on your car. And then totally screw it up and then go on YouTube and complain to me.